in relation to Carrick getting it, and we've got to wait for the officialness, in relation to Carrick getting it, I think it's the best of a bad choice. And that's, you know, I will back Carrick, but I think he's the best of a bad choice. When you're choosing between Solskjaer, Fletcher, Carrick and Van Nistelrooy halfway through the season with a team that's just been knocked out of the FA Cup, this is not something to get excited about, is it? I mean, there might be a handful of United fans that are excited, but is anybody genuinely excited by this? I just think it's the best of a bad choice. And, you know, ultimately, we're in this position because of the board and the owners. And, you know, it does somewhat frustrate me when you're looking around and you're seeing people just avoiding that issue, whether it's mainstream, whatever. Like, people are not calling out Sir Jim or the Glazers or the board, and they're calling out the same people. You know, they're moaning about players. They're moaning about the low. You know, they're moaning about Bruno. And you sort of like go, hold on a minute. These players are playing, you know, it wasn't Delot that picked the team yesterday. It wasn't Delot that sacked Amorim. Like, these players aren't good enough. But if they were at Man City, they've been gone years ago. If they're at Liverpool, they'd be gone years ago. Who is responsible for that? It's not bloody Delot, is it? Delot doesn't decide he's staying at Man United. This everything, you know, interim choices, sacking Amorim, replacing him with an interim, keeping Amorim, not backing him in January. All these things, I mean, it's just so bloody obvious. It baffles me. It baffles me how some people just don't want to talk about it. I do feel a bit bad for Solskjaer because let's not forget, Solskjaer is a legend of the club. I didn't want him back because I think it's hypocritical to say sack Solskjaer and then bring him back. I'm just not going to be a hypocrite. But some of you did. You know, some of you were very excited about it last week. I think Carrick's the right decision. Yeah, I think Carrick is the right decision, but I'm not sat here excited. You know, as I said, I knew at 7 o'clock last night that he was coming to Manchester for talks, which basically means he's going to get the job. But I was like, nah, I'm not going live on that. Fuck, I'm not going live on that. Ooh, woo, I've got an exclusive. Ooh, I really don't care. I was like last night, I'm having a can. I'm watching something that's not football related because I am not excited by Michael Carrick becoming the interim. I'll back Carrick. I like Carrick. He was a brilliant player and I wish him all the best. But it's dead man's shoes. He's walking into a shit show. Like, Michael Carrick is not Ruben Amorim and he's not Eric Ten Hag and he's not Jose Mourinho. He hasn't got that CV, you know, and he is not going to turn that ship around. What I would say the positive with Carrick is I think there's next to no chance he'll get the job in the summer. I really do think Carrick is the classic interim who does it for a few months and then goes. I think if Solskjaer had got the job, he was bloody desperate to get the job full time again, and that would have been the big concern in the summer. What I find interesting is one or two things have happened. Solskjaer's got an amazing amount of PR behind him to try and get the job, or Man United yesterday spun completely from Solskjaer because the last few days it's been all Solskjaer. You know, definitely Solskjaer is the favourite. Solskjaer's going to get the job. Ollie's back, this, that and the other. And then yesterday afternoon something changed. Now, I don't know whether it was the Brighton result. I don't know whether they've woken up to the noise around it. But I think for whatever reason, they've made the right choice. But I would also say this ain't going to change a lot, is it? You know, I watched that game yesterday and I don't think Pep Guardiola as interim makes any difference to the end of the season. I think the bottom line is we're just not very good. You know, I thought Dorgu did quite well yesterday. I thought Mainu did okay. Somebody else who did okay, I can't remember now. But off the back of my head, it was just a terrible performance. And I don't see what Michael Carrick's going to do. I don't see what Solskjaer was going to do. I just think we're going to really struggle now to get into Europe. And if we don't get into Europe, I think the focus needs to be on removing the owners. I think, in a way, I sort of thought this before I went live, Carrick coming in is completely inoffensive. Michael Carrick's personality is not to sit there. I mean, I think his press conferences will be pretty tame, to be honest with you. I think Solskjaer's a very happy, back the Glazers. I think Carrick will just be very, I'm focused on the job. I don't want to talk about anything else. So I don't think we're not going to get anything dramatic from the press conferences. Carrick's literally just going to be an interim. and that leaves the focus on the board, and that's a positive. So we're in a mess. We're in a very big mess, and they've decided to solve this situation by going for an interim coach. And I don't think that's going to distract the fact that we have got protests, that we're going to keep getting beat, that we're going to have some bad results. And it's going to be very interesting to see what we can do in the next 3 or 4 months. But there's a long way to go in this season. We're only just over halfway in the Premier League. We're out of the Cup. We're going to play 40 games this season, which has got to be some sort of record. 40 games is 38 Premier League games plus 2 cup games where we got knocked out straight away. So it's pitiful. It's another disaster of a season. It's a January transfer window where we're clearly going to ignore it, even though it's only the 12th of January. We've got Man City and Arsenal next. We've got a lot of difficult games to come. I don't even look at the difficult games being Newcastle away or, whatever. I think every game's difficult. I think Fulham at Old Trafford's difficult. I think there are teams that can come to Old Trafford, as we saw with Brighton, and just completely annihilate us and get results. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting next 3 or 4 months. And